going to talk about a very common activity that we engage in. It is called reading. Because reading is used to extract information from writings that we find everywhere. We find writings the moment we step out. We need to read road signs, railway timetables. We need to read signboards, billboards, prescriptions of doctors. We need to read newspapers, books, novels, and we need to read stories to enjoy. Labels on packaged items, like a packet of biscuit, are to be read by us. We need government circulars, so we have to read them. We read bank passbooks. There are numerous such activities that we engage in that involves reading. And it's very important for teachers and students both to know about the science behind it. So today we are going to talk about reading, successful modern life, because in the modern societies we communicate using writing. For participation in the civic activities, reading is essential. We read to know about the functioning of the democracies, the functioning of our countries, the laws passed by our governments, the functioning of the stock market. So for all these areas, reading is very crucial. We read to know, to extend our knowledge, to gain information. Even reading is used to pass our leisure time for enjoyment, for entertainment. Writing is used for storing information, for communication of information in all areas like education, business and commerce, governance and law, science, technology, and other specialized fields like history. Even in literature, writing is very crucial. Stories, poems, novels, all are written. And for enjoyment, for understanding, reading is crucial. So reading is very common activity, very important for everybody in a modern life. But what is the meaning of reading? Let's understand. Reading and writing both are the two sides of the same coin. We read what is written and we write for somebody to read. So what is writing? Writing is a method of visually representing verbal communication through material signs. And reading is the process of taking in the sense or meaning of letters and symbols, especially by sight or touch. Why do we read? Already we have discussed. But Pisa has beautifully written, expressed why we read. We read for understanding, using, reflecting on, and engaging with written texts in order to achieve one's goals, develop one's knowledge and potential, and participate in the society. So you can understand very well in the modern life, reading is so crucial, not merely for gaining information, but using the information for achieving one's goals, developing one's knowledge and potential, and participating successfully in the modern society. Researchers have studied how reading takes place, the reading process, and how reading develops in children, and what are the successful steps to be taken for reading instruction. So, a science has developed around it. Researchers have studied the process of reading and they have accumulated a lot of information and knowledge about this. And to this area of science of reading, various other fields have contributed, like the field of neuroscience, education, cognitive psychology, and linguistics, all have contributed to the field of science of reading, which is very much multidisciplinary. So today we'll talk about this science of reading because it's very important for teachers and students. Reading is a cognitive activity. It results from the functioning of the brain, and we'll understand how reading is related to brain activity. Speaking is a biologically primary skill it is instinctive for human beings to learn speaking. That's why speaking is natural. But reading is not. It is something unnatural to the brain. It is a cultural invention that has been discovered, or rather invented, recently, about 6,000 years ago. For learning reading, it requires repetition and external motivation for mastery. That means it is not natural. During learning to read, neural networks that have evolved to specialize in spoken language and visual recognition are repurposed for the reading process. That means reading is not natural to human beings. The existing neural networks, which are meant for spoken language and for recognition of various objects visually, are repurposed, reoriented for learning reading. So, reading must be done and taught, learned explicitly, systematically, in a structured way. Let us talk about the nature of reading. It is a constructive process because a reader constructs meaning from the written text. The information which is there in the written text and the personal experience act together in tandem to construct the meaning. So it is a holistic act. That means there are various skills which are involved in reading. They are to be utilized together systematically for construction of meaning, and all have to be done fluently. And to tackle a written text for construction of meaning, the reader has to use the strategies, all that fluently, and for that the reader requires motivation. There should be desire for construction of meaning. Without motivation there is no reading. And this reading skill develops over a long period of time that requires long practice. It doesn't happen on a particular day at a particular moment. It requires long continuous practice over a long period of time. Because it is a cognitive activity based on personal experience to some extent, is purely individual. It is unique act. That means it is done by the individual concerned, and the meaning constructed is purely individual. That may be different from one person to another. It may be different from a reader to another. It is unique. During the last 4 to 5 decades, researchers have developed various models and theories of reading. Here is a simple view of reading. This is a very popular one. It was developed in the year 1986 by Philip Gow and his colleagues. According to this theory, an individual's reading comprehension is the product of her decoding skills and oral language comprehension. That means reading comprehension is a product of decoding and language comprehension. Here the key idea is that for reading comprehension, for meaning making out of a text, both the skills of decoding and language comprehension are required, because any one of them will not be sufficient for a reader to make meaning out of written text. Simply by decoding a text without any knowledge of language comprehension is not going to help in reading comprehension, and simply knowing the language and having no ability to decode will not help in reading comprehension. So both of them are required. This is the idea of the simple view of reading. This simple view of reading was further elaborated by people like Scarborough. Here is the popular reading rope as developed later. In this reading rope, the original idea of decoding and language comprehension have been further elaborated. According to this idea, according to this model, the two skills of language comprehension and word recognition or decoding are themselves made of other sub-skills. Language comprehension consists of background knowledge, vocabulary, language structure, verbal reasoning, literacy knowledge, and word recognition further includes phonological awareness, decoding, and sight recognition. Here, sight recognition of words. So these sub skills are like the strands of a rope. The rope is here reading comprehension, skill reading. In order to read properly, successfully, in a skillful manner, a reader has to master all these areas, the areas relating to background knowledge, vocabulary, etc. If there is weakness in any one of the areas, it will lead to reading failure. It may lead to reading failure. So as teachers, we have to understand what are the skills involved in skillful reading. And that's why we have to teach them properly right from the beginning. Because without their mastery, successful reading is not possible. Elaborated and refined, and a new model has been given to us. It is called the active view of reading. Here a new area has been added. The area is called active self-regulation. It has been added to the two already existing areas of word recognition and language comprehension. Active self-regulation includes motivation and engagement on the part of the reader, and the application by the reader of executive function skills and various strategies. So you can see all these three areas, active self-regulation, word recognition, and language comprehension, have to contribute to successful reading. So reading is a very complex process. There are numerous skills and areas which are to act together smoothly, fluently, in coordination for successful reading. And for teachers as well as students have to master all these sub skills. So let us, in a tabular form, all these have been presented. Word recognition has these soft skills: phonological awareness, alphabetic principles, phonic knowledge, decoding skills, sight words recognition, print awareness, fluency, vocabulary, morphological awareness, graphophonological, semantic, cognitive flexibility. Language comprehension includes the areas like cultural and other content knowledge, reading specific content knowledge, verbal reasoning, language structure, and theory of mind. And active self-regulation on the part of the reader includes motivation, engagement, executive function skills, and strategies to be used by the reader. So thus we can observe numerous skills and areas are involved in skilled reading. And for teachers, it is essential to know about the importance of all these areas. And they have to learn themselves what involves reading and what are the skills which are required for successful reading and how to teach them. And for children as well as students who are learning reading, they have to be conscious about these soft skills and they have to master them and use them smoothly, successfully in a coordinated manner for successful reading for a meaning making automated text. Thank you.